Okay, what's going on? It's your man, Dr. Rory T. and we back with number two for this day, 8/21/2025. And we are actually trying to make sure that you get the complete message that we're trying to share today. So, we want to talk today about something that I think continues in the vein of what I spoke about earlier, and that is what you let in your life. So this one is going to continue basically on what I said earlier. And this title of House Calls with Dr. Rory T. Edwards, episode title is What You Were Attracted to When You Were Broken Will Disgust You Once You Heal. I'm going to say that again, and I'm going to move a little closer. What you were attracted to when you were broken will disgust you once you heal. And the reason why I say that is because so many of us don't really even realize when we are broken, because we think that that's supposed to be normal, because in our life, so many of our interactions, so many of our relationships, so many of our circle of influence, so many of our friends, so many of our associates, so many of our colleagues, so many of our church family or our fraternal or sorority or social and professional groups are really broken. There's a lot of people in there who take the leadership and take the mantle of the voice, who are really, really broken. And so once you become woke, then all of a sudden what happens is that it disgusts you, because you're listening and you're like, wow, I've been listening to this for this many years or this many days or this many weeks, and this is what I've been listening to. So where are we? You know where we are. Welcome back to another transformational episodes of House Calls with your man, Dr. Rory T. Edwards. Now, when I wrote this thing, I said it's probably going to sting a few people. But the thing is that once you can recognize the signs of being broke, it's easier for you to heal. And so let me just put this disclaimer out there, is that topics I talk about are very, very transformational, and it's also a great therapy for me, myself, because as you grow in life, as you grow professionally, as you grow personally, the things that you're able to share also give you a foundation for your growth. So, I want to talk about healing and how it changes your vision. When you're emotionally, spiritually, or mentally broken, you accept less, you tolerate dysfunction, and even romanticize chaos. But healing reintroduces you to your true self. And suddenly, what once felt like love, comfort, or belonging starts to feel like betrayal of your growth. I want you to let that marinate a little bit. When you are emotionally, spiritually, or mentally broken, you accept less, you tolerate dysfunction, and even romanticize chaos. But healing reintroduces you to your true self. And suddenly, what once felt like love, comfort, and belonging starts to feel like betrayal of your growth. So I'm going to talk about 4 or 5 points here that I think could help you in this process of healing. One, I'm going to talk about brokenness warps attraction. Number 2, I'm going to talk about healing elevates standards. Number 3, disgust is not bitterness, it's clarity. Number 4, why some relationships fade after healing. And number 5, I'm going to leave you with reflective questions. So, if you're ready to take this journey, I'm ready to start the ship, and I want people to get on. But once before we even go any further, I want to say you're listening to House Calls with your man, Dr. Rory T. Edwards. If you have any concerns, comments, or questions, please go on to my website, www.rorytedwards.com. may send me an email at rorytedwards1 at gmail.com. That's RORYTEDWARDS1 at gmail.com. So let's talk about the key points. Number one, brokenness warps attraction, right? So what is it? We often choose people, places, or patterns that reflect our wounds. Now think about that. You know, we're hurt, so we go to a place where we think people are healing, and in most cases, the people who are there healing are also still very wounded. It's like going to the hospital, and you get excited when you see somebody leaving the hospital because you believe they have healed. But as you venture into the hospital, every time you glance off into the room, you see somebody who is broken, who is damaged, who is trying to heal. And it gives you, sort of a false indication of what is the purpose of the hospital. It's to heal people. And why are so many people still in the hospital, right, if they're not healing? So that's what I'm talking about. We often choose people, places, and patterns that reflect our wounds. So if we are depressed, we usually surround ourselves around people who can comfort us in our depression. So we have to get out of our depression. We have to change the people, places, or things that we are attracted to. What's the next one? Comfort becomes survival, not thriving. Broken attracts broken. You remember the saying, they say hurt people hurt people? Well, broken attracts broken. Because if you go into a room with somebody and you have broken energy, and their energy is exuberating and fiery and is glowing and growing, they're going to drift away from you because they don't want to hear what you're talking about, because it's morbid, it's depressing. So you have to realize that sometimes you move away from that, they move away from that. So broken attracts broken. And number three, choosing toxic relationships because they felt familiar or passionate. Sometimes, like I spoke about earlier, people just attract somebody because they feel like they may be alone, and they feel that they need someone just to listen to, or need someone around to fulfill their need of being wanted, being valuable, or being valued. If you learn how to self-love and learn how to love yourself, you will realize that in your own presence, in your own comfort, you will find so much value and so much joy in just being around yourself, that you have to understand that, choosing toxic relationships because they feel familiar or passionate. Move away from that. Move away from that. Once you learn how to love yourself, there's nobody who will come into your cipher and interrupt that love, because you'll know what to expect. You'll know what to reject. And then you will be able to bring people into your life that will only build the foundation for what you're building on. Let's go into the second one, healing, evaluate standards. So, as you heal, your nervous system recalibrates. Most people don't even understand. Your nervous system is what directs you and puts you on the path of going every day. It's your nervous system. If you have a problem with driving in traffic, just think of the anxiety you have when you get in traffic, right? So this healing process recalibrates your nervous system. So it's just like riding a bike. If the last time you rode a bike and you fell, the first time you get on a bike, you're going to feel nervous. But when you start going and you start learning again, and you start dipping around the curves and you start going down hills, your nervous system starts to recalibrate because you're no longer nervous. That's what this healing process does. It recalibrates your nervous system. Number two, peace replaces chaos. Accountability replaces excuses. Peace replaces chaos. That's what this is all about. Peace. Do you understand what it feels like to be in your own peace? Where you're not on the phone gossiping, where you're not looking for things to try to start a conversation that involves other people. when you realize what they said in, I believe it was The Color Purple. They said when you point one finger at someone, there's four fingers pointing right back at you. So before you try to jump into the chaos, I would say accept peace. Peace feels so good in your spirit, and it just balances you, and your energy is balanced, and your energy is glowing, and your vibration is moving at a steady pace. That you should choose peace over chaos, and accountability replaces excuses. Please don't get involved and say, well, I'm with that person because they treat me good. But you're struggling. You're struggling. Treating good doesn't mean that they are doing things to you that make you feel good physically. If they're not helping you build your kingdom, then they're not there to be accountable for your growth as well as theirs. So accountability replaces excuses. And the third thing, what once excited you now exhausts you. I know people who used to drive around town just to delay getting home because of the fact that they knew when they got home, it was a fight on their hands. So it exhausted them. When they went to bed, they were totally exhausted and worked 8 hours and weren't even half exhausted as they were with the chaos in their home. So that's how healing elevates standards. Let's go to number 3. Disgust is not bitterness, it's clarity. Disgust, if you're healed, self-saying, I deserve better. We all deserve better. We all deserve the best. And once you learn how to treat yourself the best, then what will happen is you will understand when anybody or anything comes into your life, you will see it coming from a mile away. You're a mile away, and you'll be able to say, wow, I deserve better than that. You can sidestep, you can move to the left, you can move to the right, you can go around the corner, you can get behind a building. But you know when it's coming, you deserve better. You know how to move to the side and let it keep on going till it hits somebody who really wants to receive that. So that's what I'm saying. Disgust is your healing to self-say, I deserve better. Number 2, you're not better than people. You're better for yourself now. Self-explanatory. You're not better than people. You're better for yourself. I remember people always used to say to me, and I'm going to say this again. People used to always say, you think you're better than everybody. I said, I've always thought I was better than everybody. Because if I think everybody and I are the same, then what I do is I absorb their life. No, I want so much more for my life than you could ever imagine. So for me to be that person, I have to think that I'm better than everybody else. It's not self-serving, but it is self-serving. Because if I allow you to pull the strings for me, then I become the puppet and you become the puppeteer. That's not happening in my life, or will it ever happen in my life? So I advise you to do the same thing in life. If you allow people to pull your strings and you become their puppet. So, you're not better than people, you're better for yourself now. These are some gems that I'm dropping right now. I'm feeling good about dropping these gems because I'm slowing down in the process just to let y'all know that this is what I'm talking about. What you were attracted to when you were broken will disgust you once you heal. Let's move on to number 4. Why some relationships fade after healing. You were bonded over brokenness, not wholeness. So why some relationships fade after heal? You were bonded over being broken, so everybody around you was broken. I work with a very good friend of mine who I respect highly, now Pastor Dr. Sylvia Hooker in Anniston, Alabama. She's the pastor of Smith AME Zion Church, and she entrusted me to work with some of the homeless men who she met at her church. And what I did for those men is I changed their whole narrative on who they associated with. They had to look inside and find the gifts that they were given by the Creator. And out of those 8 men that I worked with, 6 of them changed their lives because they changed their atmosphere. They didn't no longer associate with the people who were in the park talking about the same thing. They changed their narrative. They realized that broken people were trying to keep them broken. And if if they wanted to do better, they had to change their environment. They had to change who was in their cipher. And we talked about the cipher in the earlier edition of House Calls, right? And this is what I'm talking about. Growth demands new environments, new energy, and new emotional contracts. See, you sign a contract with your emotions. Your emotions is the thing that drives you every day. Your emotions is the thing that you wake up and when you step into the world, your emotions are the things that drive your conversations, your interactions, your relationships, your engagement with other people, with your spouse, with your children, with your co-workers, with whomever you associate with. It's your emotions. So you have to understand that your emotional contracts are driven by your healing, right? So that's the third thing. Now, before we end, I have a few reflective questions I want you all to follow and see if you can answer these, right? When you ask these questions, you say, who or what did I once crave that now drains me? Write that down and ask that question. Who or what did I once crave that now drains me? Once you answer that question, you're on the road to healing. Number two, what boundaries have I learned to set since healing? These are things that are going to help you so much in your life. And we are at a time right now that we are so reactive to the ignorance that is being put forth on us as people that we have to set boundaries on what I've learned since I started to heal. And we can't engage in that because it's really sad that many people, or those many people are allowing these changes or even these conversations to occur, believing there's no consequence. So for the woke people, they're going to understand what I'm talking about. For those who are still striving and still trying to heal, it'll get to you. Once you get there, it'll drop in your spirit and your consciousness, and you'll be very much aware of what I'm talking about. And the third thing, where am I still attracted to dysfunction, disgust as a connection? Where am I attracted to the dysfunction or disgust as an attraction, or as a connection, excuse me, right? So, those are the things we're talking about today in this version of House Calls. And so, I want to leave you with a quote, and then I want to give you some things, some call to actions that I think you need to do. The quote that I want to leave you with is, the healed version of you will have new taste buds. What once satisfied you will now make you sick. You know, when people say, well, I haven't eaten this in so long, and then they're just starving, so they stop. They haven't eaten fast food, so now they stop, and they stop at a fast food restaurant, and they eat the food, and all of a sudden they become nauseated. It's because you've weaned yourself off of that poison. And so now when you put that poison in your body is reacting to not accepting that anymore. That's the same thing with what you once were attracted to. When you were broken will now disgust you once you're healed, right? And so let me leave you with some call to actions, because like when I did my radio show with the wonderful Sheila Robinson, the Rory T show with Sheila Robinson, we always said, we're not talking about the problems, we're talking about the solutions. So let's talk about a few solutions. This is what I want you to do. I want you to do 3 things that will help you in this process. 1, you know how I feel about journaling. I want you to journal this prompt tonight. What I was attracted to when I was hurt, and what does that say about what I believed I deserved? So many people think they're in the greatest relationships, the greatest friendships, they have the greatest friends, they're in the greatest position of their life, they're making money, they're doing that, and inside they are miserable. Write that down. What was I attracted to when I was hurt? And what does that say about what I believed I deserved? Ask yourself that question. Number 2, share this episode with someone ready to confront their healing journey. I got to plug myself, right? Because I think this is some great nuggets that I dropped today. Please share this episode with someone ready to comfort their healing journey. And the third thing, this is what I'm going to talk about next week. I prompted this, and I spoke about this earlier in a post. I want you to join me next week when I talk about Healing isn't becoming someone new. It's remembering who you were before you were hurt. That's what I want you to remember. All right? Well, I really appreciate you for joining me today. I thank those who listen. I thank those who will listen. I thank those who will take the time and have the courage to send it to someone who they know needs this. You don't have to think, well, it's coming from me, that you need to believe in it. You need to believe in the fact that what you were attracted to when you were broken will disgust you now that you are on the road to being healed. Right? So, family, I want to thank you. 2 in 1 day, 2 house calls, and I'm ready to go. Like they used to say back in the day in the NAACP, they used to say ready to go. I mean, fired up and ready to go. So that's what we should be doing right now. We should be fired up and ready to go, and we should demand the fact that we are no longer accepting being hurt, because we see that when we are hurt, now that we're on the road to heal, we realize it disgusts us, right? So my family, until we talk again, you be well, you stay blessed, continue on the road to healing, and until we talk again,